Hello, I'm Bob Shackleford, President of Randolph Community College, and I want to take a few minutes just to have an informal chat with you about Veterans Day. First of all, I realize that we have a lot of students who are veterans, and we have faculty and staff who are veterans. And I want to congratulate you because you're in a very special group of people. There are about somewhere between 17.5 and 18 million veterans in the United States. You think, well, that's a lot of people. Well, actually, it's only 7% of the population. 93% of the American population never wore the uniform. They were never deployed. They never put their lives on the line. Many served in other ways. We're grateful for our first responders, law enforcement, firefighters, EMS, and we honor those as well on Veterans Day. But today in particular, I want to thank you who served in the armed forces. It's a challenge, it's a task. It takes a part of your life. It puts a strain on your family. It takes years to put in the service that it takes to build a military career. And I don't know why you joined. Some of you may have wanted the adventure, you wanted to see the world. Maybe it seemed exciting. Maybe you grew up playing Army outdoors with other boys or girls when you were a child. Maybe it's pure patriotism. You believe in your country and you want to defend it. I'll tell you why I joined. I grew up with this picture in my house. This is a picture of my father in his Air Force uniform. This picture was taken about 2 years before I was born. And that picture I still treasure. He's in his Air Force uniform, and I thought then, and I still think, he's about the most handsome man I ever saw. And I was so proud when I knew that he had served in the Air Force. And that picture inspired me, and all my life I hoped that one day I would get to serve. And I did. Eventually I went in and at the age of 33, and I spent 7.5 years in the Army Reserve as a chaplain. And then I spent 22 years in the Air National Guard, the reserve component of the Air Force, as a chaplain. Had many memorable experiences. I was a chaplain on call for a couple of major plane crashes. I went to the Pentagon after 9/11 and counseled with survivors and victims for weeks and weeks after the 9/11 terrorist attacks. I went to Ramstein in Germany to minister to the troops who were being brought back from the Middle East after having serious injuries there in combat. One of my most memorable experiences took place when I was stationed at a nuclear base in France. The commander called me and told me that they needed me to go with him and a couple other airmen on Sunday. Sunday was typically a day off, but I had chapel service that morning, but then I left and I went with the commander. We drove about 2 hours away. And I didn't know what we were going to do. He said, we're going to a little ceremony and I need you to do the invocation. So we go out in the country in the south of France. And we drive down this dirt road and we come near a village. And on both sides are small olive trees. And there by the road is this huge rock. And bolted to the side of that rock is the window and the side, the door of an American World War II fighter jet. And it has the pilot's name on it, and it had all the crew on the side of the aircraft. It obviously had been mangled, had been shot down. You could see the burn marks on it. And I thought, well, this is interesting. What are we doing here? And about that time, I saw coming up the dirt road from the village a lot of villagers, and there were instruments playing. I saw high school young people in their native dress playing instruments, marching up the dirt road toward that monument there that we were standing by. And then I saw a man being pushed in a wheelchair with a military uniform and medals all over his chest. I found out later he was the most highly decorated veteran from France in World War II. He was now well into his old age, but he wanted to be there even if he had to be pushed in a wheelchair. And then other villagers stood around. The mayor of the village got up and welcomed everyone in French. I didn't know exactly what was going on, but then he spoke in English. And he said, this is a day that we commemorate every year on Memorial Day. And now I would like to introduce one of the students from our high school. And this young man got up, and he had won a prize for writing the most compelling poem for this occasion. And he read the poem, and then the mayor stood up and read it in English. And this high school student had written a poem about when France was at its lowest and thought that all was over. The brave Americans came with planes overhead, and they saved our country, and we'll always owe them a debt of gratitude. About that time, the young people who were in their native costume, who had their instruments, held their instruments by their side, and they sang the French national anthem out there in that field. And then, to my utter surprise, they sang the American national anthem. I stood there watching this in amazement, and then they called on me to have the closing prayer. I was so shocked to see school children from France commemorating American airmen who gave their lives to liberate France, writing poems about the brave Americans. French high school children singing the American national anthem. I left there and I could barely hold back the tears. As we made our way back, the commander explained that this village comes out there every Memorial Day and has a ceremony to honor the American flyers who flew overhead and liberated France from Germany. And I began to wonder, do our young people know this? Do our young people know this history? Do they remember this? Does Memorial Day and Veterans Day mean anything to our youngest who are coming up now? This war took place in their backyard, so they will always remember. But here, where we only have 7% of the country as veterans, do we remember? And then I began to think, maybe we do. This year we had 500 flags out by Highway 64 at the school, each one in memory or in honor of a veteran. RCC has 2 of those flags, one commemorating all of our students who are veterans and first responders, and another commemorating all of our faculty and staff who were veterans and first responders. 500 flags out there by the road for everyone to see. They have luminaries at the courthouse in a semicircle all around the front of the courthouse, lit in honor of veterans, each one commemorating a veteran from Randolph County. Our high schools and middle schools hold events on Memorial Day and Veterans Day. In fact, I've spoken at such an event at Randolph High School, Eastern Randolph High School, and even a couple of the middle schools. I spoke there as a veteran, telling some of the stories and reminding them of what veterans have done to save and to serve America. Veterans Day is a holiday. Schools will be out, so we can focus on our appreciation of the 7% who put on the uniform and went out and laid their lives on the line so all of us can enjoy the freedoms that we so enjoy. So, as I think about the holiday of Memorial Day and the holiday of Veterans Day, and I see the flags, and I see that we still have the national anthem before athletic events. I see that we still do the Pledge of Allegiance. We do that every Wednesday at my Rotary Club. I'm reminded, yes, we do remember. So many lives have been given. So many brave patriots have served. If you're one of those, I'm just here today to say thank you. You make us proud, and you've done a big part in making America safe and secure for generations to come. So on this Veterans Day, to each of you who have served in any way whatsoever, thank you, and God bless you.